So last time we discussed the bell ringing maidens, and that were suggested by Agent Funk.
Someone who was just unsubscribed, yep.
And they were actually on my list as number 16. So we'll move them up to number 10. Good job.
Yeah.
No, number 11. Number 11. And so today we're going to talk about the fluorescent flower suggested by Gordon on episode 12 of What Where Why. Now I'm looking at my list and I did have the fluorescent flower at number 15. So we're gonna move it up the list, to number 12. Oh, look at that. So Richie.
Yeah.
Let me ask you.
Certainly.
What is the fluorescent flower?
Well, the fluorescent flower is kind of two things. It's basically a very big centipede. There's one at the people you'll encounter one at Byrgenwerth, all the others are in the chalices. There's only one outside the chalices. And it's a big centipede and it can shoot fireballs at you. And it also vomits out arcane goo. And the reason I said it's kind of two things is that it looks like the entity that you're fighting is actually the flower. Because you can target 2 points on the centipede. You can target the body and the flower. If you hit the flower, it does an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage. You can basically one-shot it if you just hit the flower once. And then what happens is when it dies, there's this sort of vortex opens up. It looks like a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks the centipede body kind of into it and disappears, and the flower just falls to the ground. So it looks like you're actually just kind of fighting the flower, which has created a sort of centipede body for itself.
And after the flower falls to the ground, what happens to it?
Well, the one in Byrgenwerth does nothing. The ones in the chalices, the flower stays on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use it, it almost always drops. I think it does, actually, it does a 100% drop a thing called Arcane Haze. That's a ritual material.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Arcane Haze is something you need in pretty large quantities to do sinister chalice rituals. And there's an item called the Haze Extractor that you use to turn other materials into Arcane Haze. But if you don't have the Haze Extractor, that's how you get it. You kill the fluorescent flowers over and over and they drop it. But once you have the Haze Extractor, you don't have to, because the Haze Extractor gives you this ridiculous amounts of haze and you probably won't need your old ritual blood then anymore, so just pop it in the Haze Extractor.
Excellent. Thank you, Richie.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm
specifically
Go on.
Okay, so the reason that's kind of interesting is that very specifically Arcane Haze does the sinister chalice rituals. So, Sin, do you know what the sinister chalice rituals are? Because I know you don't do chalice as much, but you might know.
There is something about them that's either they reduce your health or everybody's super powerful or something.
No, this is a specific one. And what that does is, it makes the dungeon spawn bell maidens to begin with.
Whoa!
So even before you've rung the bell, you can get invaded. You can get invaded in them.
Amazing.
So you create sinister dungeons if you wanna do dungeon PvP.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. And yeah, we just recorded about the bell ringers, allegedly. And one of the things that they do is they summon things from other worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting that the thing that you use to do that ritual is the stuff that's left behind when the flower disappears. Because the flower looks like it has summoned something from another world as well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
The other thing the flowers do is they shoot fireballs, but it's very similar to when you use the Black Sky Eye. They don't sort of shoot out a fireball like the Beast Possessed Soul does. They open a portal, and the flower sort of the fireball kind of fires out of that. They're not really they're just conjuring it from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Richie. I've always found that the centipede kind of reminded me of the gaping dragon.
Yeah.
And, what's up with that centipede? It doesn't look very healthy.
What would your idea of a healthy centipede be?
I guess one that doesn't have a giant mouth with creepy teeth in the middle of its stomach?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, but that looks like that's just a feature of that particular kind of centipede. I don't think it's that's the result of an illness.
Oh. Do they exist in real life?
It's just a very... No.
Do they exist in Australia?
We do have pretty big centipedes here, and so does Japan, but they don't have a stomach mouth that vomits on you.
How do you know?
You're right, I don't know.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we covered where they are when we were talking about what they are.
Yeah, they're in Byrgenwerth and then the Chalices. The specific place you
Here
would
it says
first... Okay, yeah, go on.
Go ahead. No, you go
I was going to
ahead.
say, specifically the Chalice where you would first encounter them, I think, would be the Chalice that you encounter Rom in. So it's further linking them to Byrgenwerth. Because the sort of Byrgenwerth themed chalice is the one where you would... There's a ton of them in one of those big central garden rooms.
Intense. And here it says there's a ceiling variant. What does that mean?
You sometimes encounter them instead of already being wandering around. They'll just be the flower sticking out of the ground, and as you approach, they'll erupt out of the ground. The centipede will sort of burst out. And there's a variant where they do that on the ceiling. So you'll be going down a corridor, you'll see a flower on the ceiling, and then it will sort of come down from the ceiling, burst out of it. They're pretty rare. I've only seen a few of them. I think they're only in East. Yeah.
And why are the fluorescent flowers?
They're one of the more enigmatic things in the game. I think the one at Byrgenwerth is meant to be it came out of the chalices. They were doing all the digging, and it sort of makes sense because you find Rom in the chalice. You find that the ton of fluorescent flowers in, so that makes sense.
Let me ask you.
Certainly.
Could it be going to college there?
It's possible. It could be the mascot.
Yeah.
Like Sir Oinks-a-Lot in The Simpsons.
Yeah. Oh my god. Did we kill the school mascot?
That centipede had some powerful friends. Oh, you'll pay. Don't think you won't pay.
Thank you, Richie. You were saying, go on. I interrupted you.
Well, I know why they wanted Byrgenwerth there. I don't know what they are though. Like it's there's a recurring motif of like plants being the key to the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
Because like rom is like covered in little like growths like a plant, and this seems to be the same thing. It's like a flower that I guess like it absorbs moonlight or something, or like eldritch light.
Yeah.
And then it's tied to this, like it's somehow it does look like the flower has created the centipede body somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Or even like the flower parasitized the centipede.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that like you know, like a brain sucker is like a person that's been taken over by a squid thing. This looks like whatever the centipede was got taken over by the flower.
That's a very good analogy. Okay, Richie, what if...
A thing in Bloodborne is like another thing in Bloodborne. This is the analogy I'm capable of making.
Richie, what if... Okay, so the centipede really likes rum, and so the centipede is there like, hey...
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, I got rum, a really pretty flower. Where's rum? Yeah, that's why the centipede is near the lake. I just wanted to give rum a flower.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Because you know how rum has flowers on her, right?
Yeah, that's canon now. I'll tell Vadi.
Yeah, because the flowers are from, like, she didn't grow them. It's just the centipede keeps giving her flowers, and it's like she puts it... You know how you put flowers in your hair or whatever? That's what rum is doing.
Aww.
Yeah.
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 Can we make this as like a super serious video with sad music?
Okay, oh my god, yes.
The truth of the Byrgenwerth centipede.
Yes.
That was the fluorescent flower. So flower, it's fluorescent, but it also gives you a centipede.
Aww.
Like, what more could you ask for?
Oh my god, so what you're saying is I got it wrong. It's actually the flower is like, I really like rum. I got rum, a really cute centipede.
Do you think the flower is like dressed as a centipede? Because it's like, well, Rom is like a caterpillar. So maybe she'll like me if I dress as a centipede.
Yes! Oh my god. It's like one of those romantic comedies, and then Rom finds out that the flower is actually a flower, not a centipede.
Yeah, and it's like, oh no, she'll find out I'm not as... But then she loves them anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
I'm gonna cry.
Me too. And like there will be a part where Mikolash is trying to break them up. Actually, that's how she finds out the flower is not a centipede. Mikolash rats on them.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no na 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 keeping me from your rum.